Praise the Lord. Sunday School Class 7, Lesson 14. The name of the lesson is Judges Rule. So, in this chapter, we are going to see about the 15 judges of Israel. Okay, so please note it is very much important for you to read the scripture portion, that is the whole book of Judges. Okay, because in this chapter you'll get a brief of each and every judge will be explained in a very brief manner about what they have done and from where they have come and what happened during the time that they ruled. So it is going to be a very brief display of information, but if you want to know more, that is, you have to know more, then you have to read the book of Judges. Okay, so moving on in the chapter. Who is a judge? Judges were the leaders sent by God occasionally to deliver the tribes of Israel from their enemies and also to rule over them. So, what we know is that God will punish. If you have done sin, then God will definitely punish. But also, He will deliver the one who cries out to Him, and when he returns to the Lord, God forgives you of the sin that you have done. The people of God must not mingle with sinners, they must keep themselves holy. Okay, so this Judges is when we are describing the situation when about the Israelites when they were living in Canaan. Okay, so Moses had died. We learned that in the previous chapter. Moses died, then it was Joshua who was leading the people. After the death of Joshua, okay, after the death of Joshua, there were no leaders. There were no one to rule. There was no leader. There was no one to look upon when people were in trouble. There was no one to ask an opinion or consult someone. There was no one like that. There was no leader. So uh, that is the time when God raised up judges. Okay, so judges were the leaders that was sent by God. And why were they sent? Because the people of Israel, they used to leave the way of God and they used to go behind idol worshipping, because there was no leader, because there was no king, because there was no one to instruct them. They used to leave the way of God and they used to do whatever pleased them. So occasionally they used to go into idol worshipping. They used to go and mingle with other people of other nation, Gentile region, all those things. So when they used to sin against God, God used to deliver them into the hands of their enemies. Okay, so same way, if you have done something wrong, if you have done any sin, if we have done any sin, God will definitely punish you. So same way, when Israel people used to sin, God used to punish them. And how did God punish them? God punished them by sending them into the hands of the enemies. So the enemies would come and capture the people of Israelites. Then the Israelites would go there and cry unto the Lord. They would say, God, we are really sorry, please deliver us from these enemies. So that is when God used to raise a judge. Okay, so a judge would be selected by God. Then that judge would come and fight against the enemies and deliver the people of Israelites and bring them back to Canaan. Okay, so that was how it was going after the death of Joshua. So judges were the leaders sent by God to deliver the tribes of Israel, or to deliver the people of Israel from the enemies. So after delivering the people, the judges used to rule over the people till they lived, till the judges lived. So the rule of the judges started from the death of Joshua. So Joshua, who was the leader, after he died, that is when the rule of judges began. And till when did the judges till when were the judges there in Israel? They were there till the election of Saul, the first king. Okay, so that was around a period of 200 years. So after the death of Joshua, Joshua died and Saul was elected as the king. In between these two events, there is a gap of 200 years. So these 200 years, who was ruling over Israel? The judges were ruling over Israel. How many judges were there in Israel? There are 15 judges that God appointed on Israel. 13 are there in the book of Judges and 2 are there in the book of 1st Samuel. So about 13 judges you can read in the book of Judges, and about 2 of the judges you can read in the book of 1st Samuel. Okay? So there were total of 15 judges. Now what was the need of a judge? Okay? Point number 1. After the death of the people of Joshua's generation, and after the death of Joshua, there arose a new generation. Okay, so Joshua died and all the people in that generation died. Then there was a new generation that came, their children. They did not know God or the works which He had done for Israel. So the new generation, the new people, did not know about the work of God. So they did not worship God as they are supposed to. They did not follow God as they are supposed to. Whenever they were into problems, they used to move into idol worshipping and used to commit sins. Okay, so after Joshua's death, the people who came did not know God. Second point, in those days there was no king. There was no king, there was no leader, so everyone, all the people did whatever pleased them. Whatever they thought was right in their own eyes, they did that. They did not follow the 10 commandments of God. They did not follow anything that God had said because they did not know God. They did not know who God was, what God did for them, so they did whatever pleased them. Okay, so they were following idol worshipping, they were going after different nations and mingling with different sinners, so they did all kind of sins. Point number 3, they did not drive out the people of Canaan nation, instead used them as slave labor. So they mingled with the people of other nation. What did God told them to do? God told them, you are a holy nation, you are a holy set of people. So you Israelites, you are separated. You should not go and mingle yourselves with the other people, or with people from other nation. Okay, so God had commanded this to them, but they disobeyed God and they mingled with people from the other nation. And point number 4, the land of Philistines, Sidon and Lebanon were not subdued by the Israelites. So this we have already discussed in the last chapter. When Israel came to live in Canaan, they did not subdue, or they did not capture 4-5 lands. Out of that, some of the lands were Philistine, Sidon, Lebanon. So these lands were not captured by the Israelites. They were living in Canaan with these other people also residing with them. Okay, so God had given the whole of Canaan to Israelites, but the Israelites did not drive out some of the people from Canaan. Okay, so the whole of Canaan was not under the Israelites. So these are the 4 reasons why there was a need of raising up of judges. Okay, the 15 judges of Israel. So here we can see a table. This is judges of Israel. Othniel was the first judge of Israel. Who was the first judge of Israel? Othniel. So Othniel, Ehud, Shamgar, Deborah and Barak. So there were number 4, there were 2 judges: Gideon, Abimelech, Tola, Jair, Jephthah, Ibzan, Elon, Abdon, Samson, Eli and Samuel. And Samuel was the last judge of Israel. So these are the names of the 15 judges of Israel. After that, I have written down the tribes of these judges. So Othniel was from the tribe of Judah, Ehud was from the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Shamgar is not mentioned in the word, so I could not write that down. Deborah was from the tribe of Ephraim, Gideon from Manasseh, Abimelech from Manasseh, Tola from Issachar, Jair from Manasseh, Jephthah from Manasseh, Ibzan from Judah, Elon from Zebulun, Abdon from Ephraim, Samson from Dan, Eli from Levi tribe, and Samuel from the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, so these judges were belonging to these particular tribes. Next, I have written down the enemies that they have defeated. So I already told you, when the people of Israel sinned against God, God used to punish them. How did God punish them? God used to hand them over to their enemies. So the enemies would come and capture the people of Israel. So what did God do? Then the people used to cry out to God, God, we are sorry, forgive us. Then God used to have mercy upon them, and God used to forgive their sins, and God used to rise up judges. Okay, so the judges would go and deliver these people from the hands of those enemies. So those enemies I have written down over here. So Othniel delivered the people of Israel from the hands of the enemy, and the name of the enemy was the people of Mesopotamia. Same way, Ehud delivered the people from the hands of the enemies who were Moabites. Okay, Moab, the people of Moab. Shamgar delivered the people from the hands of the Philistines. Deborah delivered the people from the hand of Canaanites. Gideon delivered the people from the hand of Midianites. And all those which follows down I have mentioned. The place where there is blank have been kept blank. It is not certain. It is uncertain, so I have kept it blank. Jephthah delivered the people from the hand of Ammonites. Samson, Eli, and Samuel delivered the people of Israel from the hand of Philistines. Okay. Now, years of oppression and years of rest. Okay, what does this mean? The people of Israel sinned against God, so God punished them, and God punished them for how many years? So these many years the people were into punishment, and they were oppressed, and they suffered under the enemies. So that year is mentioned first. So the people of Israel sinned against God, and God punished them for 8 years. Okay, God punished them under the people of Mesopotamia for 8 years. Then Othniel came and delivered the people. Then there was a year of rest. Okay, so Othniel delivered the people. Then the people of Israel came back to Canaan, and they had a good year without the enemies. They rested for 40 years. Okay, so similarly it is mentioned down. I'll explain again. I'll explain for the second judge. When the people of Israel sinned against God, God punished them, and God delivered them into the hands of the enemies. So who was the enemies? Who was the enemy that we can see in the second line? It was the people of Moabites. So Moabite people came and captured the people of Israel. Okay, so they captured the people of Israel, and people of Israel were into suffering and oppression for how many years? For 18 years. Okay, so after the 40 year of rest that we can see during the time of Othniel, after 40 years, people again sinned against God. So God punished them again for 18 years. After 18 years, who came as the judge? Yes, Ehud came as the judge. Ehud came as the judge. He delivered the people of Israel from the hand of the Moabites, and he gave them rest. God gave them rest for how many years? 80 years. So 80 years there was no trouble of any enemies, and the people lived in peace and rest. Okay, so that is again mentioned down. The columns that are left blank, again the number is uncertain, so I could not fill it up. Okay, so this is a table which gives you a synopsis, or which gives you a gist of all the judges together, the tribe, the enemy that they defeated, how many years of oppression were they were in, and how many years of rest they got. Okay, so this is the gist, this is the table. Now we are going to in depth learn about each judge. Okay, so each judge we are going to briefly learn about them. Who was the first judge of Israel? It was Othniel. Okay, so Othniel was from the tribe of Judah. He was the son of Kenaz, that is Caleb's brother. Okay, so you remember Caleb and Joshua? Yes. So Othniel was a son of Kenaz. Who was Kenaz? Kenaz was Caleb's brother. Okay. He captured Kiriath Sephar according to the call of Caleb. So Caleb told him to capture Kiriath Sephar, so he captured that place. It is mentioned in the first chapter that he married Aksa. Who was Aksa? Aksa was the daughter of Caleb. Yes. His works as a judge is described in Jude 3 verse 7 to 11. So if you read that, you will be able to get a brief description about his work. God afflicted the people of Israel due to their idolatry. So they turned to idols. That is why God punished them. When they cried out unto the Lord, God raised Othniel as their deliverer. He got victory over the king of their enemy. So the land had peace for 40 years. So that is about Othniel, the first judge of Israel. Second, we learn about Ehud. Ehud was from the tribe of Benjamin. He is described as being left-handed. So he was a left-handed person. Eglon, the Moabite king. So who was the enemy? The enemy was Moab, the people of Moab. And who was the king of Moab at that time? It was Eglon, Eglon. When you read your textbook, you will be able to follow the names. So Eglon, the Moabite king, with the support of Ammonites and Amalekites. Okay, so Moabite was the main enemy. Also, who was in support of Moabites? Ammonite and Amalekites. Okay, defeated Israel and ruled over them for 18 years. So because the people sinned against God, God delivered them into the hands of the Moabites for how many years? 18 years. Ehud killed Moabite king with sword, and he gathered the Israelites and killed 10,000 warriors of Moabites. How many warriors did Ehud kill? 10,000 warrior of Moabites Ehud killed. Remember, 10,000 warriors. The Israelites enjoyed 80 years of peace and rest. Okay. Next, it is about the third judge of Israel, that is Shamgar. Much is not mentioned about him in your textbook, so I am not going into detail. What is mentioned is he slaughtered 600 Philistines with an ox god. And what is an ox god? I have put a picture for your easy understanding. It is actually used by the farmers in the field to tend the ox. Okay, so that is an ox god. So he killed 600 Philistines. Who was their enemy? The Philistines. He killed 600 Philistines with an ox god. Next, we are going to learn about the fourth judge of Israel, and that was Deborah. In 4th and 5th chapters, we see Jabin, the Canaanite king, and his military commander Sisera as Israel's oppressor. So who was the enemy during the time of Deborah? It was the Canaanite king and his military commander Sisera. Remember the name? Canaanite king Jabin, military commander Sisera. Their capital was Hazor, north of the Sea of Galilee. They had 900 iron chariots and they oppressed Israel for 20 years. So the people of Israel suffered under the Canaanite king for 20 years. During those days, there was a prophetess in Israel. So, Deborah was a prophetess, and she was Deborah, the wife of Lepidoth. So, who was the husband of Deborah? It was Lepidoth. Lapidoth, Lepidoth or Lepidoth. Barak mustered 10,000 troops of Naphtali and Zebulun. Okay, so the tribe of Zebulun and Naphtali. How many people were selected from there? Barak selected 10,000 people from the tribe of Naphtali and Zebulun and prepared them for war. Deborah had prophesied him to do so. So Deborah told Barak to collect 10,000 people from the tribe of Naphtali and Zebulun, and Barak obeyed Deborah. Deborah was also with them. Sisera was completely defeated at the river Kishon. So with these 10,000 people, they went out for war. Deborah and Barak went out for war with 10,000 people from the tribe of Naphtali and Zebulun, and they defeated the commander Sisera. Where was he defeated? He was defeated at the river Kishon. Sisera came to the tent of Jael. He was defeated and he ran from the battlefield and he reached the tent of Jael. He went inside a tent, and the tent belonged to whom? It belonged to a woman named as Jael. He asked her for a drink and she gave him a drink. While he was asleep, she hammered a tent pin through his temple. So she lived in a tent, so there is a tent pin, a pin that is used to put the tent into place. So she hammered the tent pin through his temple. Okay, the ear, above the ear and that forehead, there is this part before the head and above your ear. Okay, so that part is known as a temple. You will search what is a temple, you will find out. So that part she hammered him with a tent pin. Deborah and Barak sang praises and praised God, and there was peace in the land for 40 years. So Sisera was killed by Jael and the land was in peace for 40 years. The fifth judge of Israel, he was Gideon, and he belonged to the tribe of Manasseh. He was a son of Joash. It was during this period that even his household members followed idolatry. Okay, so the household, the people inside the house of Gideon also followed idolatry. The hand of Midian. So who was their enemy during the time of Gideon's? It was the Midianites. The hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. They came up with their camels without number from southeast desert. They continued to destroy Israel and their agriculture land. So they used to come and destroy all the crops of the people of Israel. Whom did God choose at this time? God chose Gideon, a farmer, to defeat the Midianites. So what was the profession of Gideon? He was a farmer. Yes, so God chose Gideon, a farmer, to defeat Midianites. The angel of God appeared to him and strengthened him. He threw down the altar of Baal that his father had built, and he built an altar to the Lord. Okay, so there was an altar that was built for Baal. He destroyed that altar and he built an altar to the Lord. For that he took the bullock of his father. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon and he gathered the people of Israel for war. Okay, God commanded him to lessen the number of army so that Israel did not warn themselves against God. So, how many people did Gideon select? Gideon actually selected 32,000 people. Okay, how many people? Gideon selected 32,000 people of Israel to have war against the people of Midian. But God said to reduce this number so that they should not tell, we were 32,000 people, that's why we got victory, we fought so much, it was the strength of the people. The people of Israel should not say like that. That is why God lessened the people of Israel. God told Gideon, we don't need so many people. If you are so much in number, you might probably say it is because of your strength and not my strength. So God told to lessen the number of people. So from 32,000 the number came down to 22,000. Then God again told them to lessen the number of people. Then there was a test. God tried them in water and all the people had to depart except for 300 people. Okay, so there was a test who could drink water from the sea or the river that was there. So there was a test that God had planned. So people who succeeded in that test only could be qualified to be in the war. So how many people succeeded? It was only 300 people. Okay, so remember how many people were there in the start? 32,000 people. So from 32,000 it came down to 300. So at last how many people were selected for the war? Only 300 people. So the people should not think it is because of the people's strength. It is because of whom did they win the war? They won because of the strength of God. Yes. So 300 people along with Gideon, they went to the war. And what was their weapon? Their weapon was a trumpet to blow the trumpet, an empty pitcher. Okay, what is a pitcher? There is a photo that I have kept here for you to understand. It is a mug where you can put water. Okay, a pitcher and a lamp, a torch. Okay, so these were the three things that the people had. So you can imagine people go to war with sword and big bombs and guns and all those things. But Gideon went to war with what? With a trumpet, a pitcher and a torch. Okay, so that was the weapon that God commanded them to use. But did they win? Absolutely, they won the war against the people of Midian. Okay. The men of Gideon blew the trumpet into the valley where Midianites, Amalekites, and the people from eastern land were sleeping. They broke the pitcher and cried, holding the lamp. Every man's sword was against his own people. So these people did not go to fight the war. They just went there to the valley. They blew the trumpet, they broke the pitcher, and they had the torch in their hand. And these people, the people of Midian, the people of Amalekites, and the people who came from the eastern lands, they who were sleeping in the night, in that confusion they killed each other. Okay, so their sword killed themselves. All Israel people gathered together to kill them. Okay, so the people of Israel won the war. Did they win it because of their own strength? No. They were 32,000 people, but God reduced them to 300, and they did not have any sword, they did not have any big weapons with them. It was a trumpet, a pitcher, and a torch. So with that minimal thing, they won the war. How did they win? They won the war because of the strength of the Lord. Because the Lord was with them, they could win the war. Next, we are going to learn about Abimelech. He was a son of the judge Gideon. He was from the tribe of Manasseh. He killed his 70 brothers. He was made the leader of Shechemites. And he ruled over Israel for 3 years. Okay, so that is it about Abimelech. Then about Tola, he was from the tribe of Issachar and he ruled over the people of Israel for 23 years. Then we can learn about Jair. He was from the tribe of Manasseh and he also ruled over the people for 22 years. So not much is mentioned about some of the judges. If you want to know about them in detail, you can read from the Bible. Only this much is mentioned in your textbook. Next, we are going to learn about the 9th judge of Israel, that is Jephthah. So, Israelites became idol worshippers. As a result, Ammonites oppressed them for 18 years. So, how many years they suffered? For 18 years. When they returned to God, they prayed to God, they cried to God, they said sorry to God, and God had mercy upon them and God forgave them, and God raised a judge. And who was this judge? It was Jephthah. So God raised Jephthah as their leader. Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot, a prostitute. He was the son of a harlot. So his brother trusted him out. But at the time of war against the Ammonites, the elders of Gilead made him their leader and the military commander. So Jephthah sent messengers to Ammonites' king and had diplomatic talks with them. But the kings did not consent. During this time, the Spirit of the Lord came to Jephthah and he made a vow to God. What do you mean by a vow? A promise. Okay, he made a promise to God. God, I'm going to fight this war against the Ammonites. If you give me victory, I will sacrifice the first thing that comes in front of me when I return from the war. Okay, so this was the vow, or this was the promise that he gave to God. What did he say? He said, God, you give me victory when I'm going to the war against the Ammonites. When I come back, if I win and I come back, the first thing that I see in front of me, I will sacrifice that for you, for the Lord. So that was the vow that he made. He won the war, he returned happily, but to his dismay, who came out to meet him first? It was his daughter who was singing and dancing with joy. She came out to meet his father. So that was a terrible sight. He was in trouble because of the promise that he made to God. But his daughter allowed him to do according to his vow. She had to live a life of virgin throughout her life. So he made a promise to God, and who came out to meet him after he won the war and he came? It was his own daughter who came to meet him. So when he saw his daughter, he was heartbroken, but he had to fulfill the vow, so he had to sacrifice his daughter for the Lord. And how many years was there rest in the land of Israel? There was rest for 6 years. Next, we learn about Ibzan. Ibzan was from the tribe of Judah. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters. Okay, remember the description that is given about these people. So, Ibzan had 30 sons and 30 daughters, and there was rest in the land for 7 years. Then we learn about Elon. Elon was from the tribe of Zebulun, and during that time there was rest for 10 years in the land of Israel, in the land of Canaan, where Israelites were living. Then we learn about the 12th judge. It was Abdon. Abdon was from the tribe of Ephraim. He had 40 sons and 30 nephews that rode on 70 as cloths. That is a description given about Abdon. And during his time, how many years was there rest and peace in the land of Canaan? For 8 years the people of Israel were at rest. The 13th judge was Samson. Samson was from the tribe of Dan. Who was the enemy during that time? It was the Philistines. Philistines oppressed Israel for 40 years. Samson was the son of Manoah. Remember the name of Samson's father? It was Manoah. The angel of the Lord appeared to Samson's parents even before his birth and informed them about him. The parents dedicated the child even before he was formed in the womb of his mother, and he was dedicated as a Nazarite. Okay, and now what do you mean by a Nazarite? Nazarite meaning separated or consecrated. Okay, if you read in the Bible, there are certain rules that you have to follow if you are a Nazarene. Okay, if you are a Nazarite, so what are those rules? That rules are, one of the rule is that you should not cut your hair. A razor should not touch your head. Okay, that is one of the rule if you are dedicated as a Nazarite. So Samson was dedicated as a Nazarite. So one of the rule was he should follow is that a razor should not touch upon his head, or he should not cut his hairs. Okay, so he used to follow that. Now, let us learn what all things he did. He did many miracles because the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. About some of the things that he did, I have mentioned over here. He simply grabbed a lion and ripped it apart. Just imagine the strength that he had. He simply held a lion in his hand and he ripped it apart. He tore it apart. He killed 30 Philistines, and he returned the sheet garment to those who solved the riddle. He gathered 300 foxes and tied them together in pairs by their tails. He attached burning torch on them, and he set the crop of the Philistines on fire. With the jawbone of an ass, he killed 3,000 men. He tore the huge gates of Gaza from its hinges and frame and carried it away. Okay, so you can imagine such a great man of such great strength, holding a lion, killing so many people, tying so many foxes together, and upheld, removing a gate from its very foundation. He had immense strength. Because why? The Spirit of the Lord was upon him, the strength of the Lord was upon him, so he had immense strength with him. But there was a failure in his life. The reason of his failure was his unwanted relationship with Delilah. When she was informed about Samson's source of strength on his head, so Samson's strength came from his hair, from his head, that the Spirit of the Lord was upon him. She called the Philistines and shaved off the 7 locks of his head. So she shaved off the 7 locks of hair from his head. They put his eyes out, they removed his eyes, and he grind in the prison. So the Philistines captured Samson. He was someone who was whom no one could capture, because he was so strong, so no one could capture him. But because he had this relationship with Delilah, he trusted Delilah, who was not from his tribe, who was not a woman from the Israelites. He trusted her. She was a Philistine, and that is where the problem arose, because he mingled with a woman of another nation. He trusted her. He told her the secret of his strength, and she betrayed him, and she called the Philistines, the people of Philistines, and she shaved off his hair when he was sleeping. Okay, so she shaved off his hair, and then he lost all his power. Then the people of Philistines captured him and put him in jail, and took out his eyes and made him to grind inside the jail. But he prayed to the Lord to strengthen him one last time. Samson was inside the jail, and he prayed to God to strengthen him one last time, and the strength of the Lord came upon Samson again. And what did Samson do? He shook the pillars of the jail, of the temple, and it fell down. many Philistines died. So we can read in the Bible the number of people who died during his death, because when he shook the pillars, the whole of the place where he was, the whole place came rumbling down, the whole building was destroyed. Okay, so that time Samson also died over there in that accident. But that time when he died, how much ever people died with him was more in number than the people he killed during his lifetime. Okay, you should remember he killed 3000 people, then again 300 people. So so many people and so many enemies he killed during his lifetime, but he killed more people during his death than his life. Okay, and also he killed because the strength of the Lord came upon him. So the main reason of his failure was his earthly desire. The people of God must crucify their flesh with the affections and the lust. Okay, so you should not fall into the temptation of this world. You should follow what God has said, and you should follow in the path of God. The 14th judge which we are going to learn about is Eli, and he was from the tribe of Levi. Okay, who was the enemy during that time? Again, it was the Philistines. Eli, a high priest, he ministered the Lord in Shiloh. He was a priest in Israel for 40 years. We read about two of his sons, who were his sons, Hophni and Phinehas. Okay, Hophni and Phinehas were also priests, but they were wicked. They were adulterers. They disobeyed God and they disobeyed their father, and they were not good people. They were not good priests. But Eli also did not warn his children. Instead, he made himself fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel. So all the offerings that the priest got inside the temple, the priest, that is Eli, and his sons used to eat all the sacrifices that was bought inside the temple, and eating, Eli kept on becoming fatter and fat. Though he heard God's oracle or God's warning against him and his son, he did not rectify his mistake, or he did not rectify his faults. As a result, Israel was defeated in the war against the Philistines. The ark of the Lord was taken, and his two sons, that is Hophni and Phinehas, were killed. When Eli heard the news about Israel being defeated and the ark of God being taken and his two sons being killed, he fell off from his seat because he was so fat he could not control his own weight, and he fell backwards by the side of the gate, and he broke his neck and he died. Phinehas' wife also bowed down. She bowed herself, and she died after giving birth to Ichabod. Her last words were, "The glory is departed from Israel." So she said, "The glory is departed from Israel," and she also died. So this is about Eli. It was a little tragic story that when we read about Eli we come to know, because he was disobedient, or he did not warn his children. God only chose Eli. Definitely God chose Eli, but Eli was not obedient unto God. His children were not obedient unto God, so God punished Eli and his children and the people of Israel. Next, we can see who was the next judge of Israel, the last judge of Israel. After Eli, God chose Samuel as the next judge. Samuel ministered in Israel as a prophet, as a priest, and as a judge. So he was a prophet, he was a priest, and he was a judge. Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. People returned to the Lord. The Philistines were captured, and the ark of God was also retained. So what all was lost during the time of Eli was all captured back during the time of Samuel. So the ark also came back during the time of Samuel. The people also came back during the time of Samuel. So Samuel was a good judge, and he judged the people of Israel as long as he lived. But what we understand is that Samuel's sons were not following the same footsteps as that of their father. Samuel's son were turned aside and they took bribes, so they were also disobedient towards God. So the people of Israel did not want Samuel's children to become the next judge, so they wished for a king. The Samuel, according to the Lord's command, anointed Saul, and after Saul, Samuel also anointed David. So Saul and David as the kings, one by one. So who was the first king of Israel? It was Saul. Saul was the first king of Israel. The age of judges is over after the death of Samuel. So it started after the death of Joshua and it ended after the death of Samuel. After the death of Samuel, Saul became the king and the rule of judges stopped after that. Okay, so these we learned about the 15 judges of Israel. We learned in a brief manner. If you want to learn in detailed manner, you can read it in the Bible. Thank you. God bless you all.